Pricing College with your hosts, Aidan Campbell
and Joanna Wells.
In today's episode, we want to ask the question, what should a CEO know about pricing? I'll preface this by saying, obviously in a big company, CEOs have one of the toughest jobs, obviously one of the best remunerated jobs, but also one of the toughest. But the question is, what should they know about pricing? In an environment when they have to know a little bit about everything, what really should a market-leading, profit-driving CEO know about the sector?
I think the first thing they should know is that pricing isn't merely a tactical numbers game. I think pricing is a great way for them to get closer to their customer base, to deal with very difficult market challenges, competitive tension, margin pressure, price pressure. It's a great way to galvanize teams to work together to align initiatives from sales, marketing, supply, and pricing so that you get the most out of each price and you really capitalize on your business and pricing models. And I also think it's a great way, and here's a classic, CEOs should know that pricing is their number one profit lever if used correctly.
Yeah, that's it. I think from my experience, a lot of CEOs they're extremely good at talking. They're very good at talking, but in some contexts, from my experience also, they're not so great at listening. You can't be an expert in all areas, and to really build a value culture in a business, a great business culture where you understand what the company is doing, what the company is trying to sell to which customer, what the value is, what the charging model, why people choose you above a competitor, that fundamentally is pricing. No one expects the CEO to be able to drill through or have the time to drill through a pricing sheet or an optimization sheet or those sort of things. But you really do want them to be considering, is it a rental model? Is it a pay up front and then you're locked into ongoing business sort of model? What is the discounting mechanism? Are you up for tendering? The fundamental questions about the business strategy is really what they should know and what they should be interested in and engaged with.
Yeah, and I think, from working with a number of CEOs and their teams now, I think an epiphany moment for many CEOs has been that pricing is not just an event, it's an ongoing transformative process. It's a process of continuous learning. There's a lot of trial, there's a lot of error, there's a lot of mistakes are made, but they're also managed. And I think at the beginning of any pricing journey, that's literally just sort of like it's rhetoric. That sounds deep. It sounds really meaningful. But whilst they're going through the process, it really becomes something that resonates, and it's like, oh yes, I get it. And from there, everything we've just discussed about value and pricing being that connection point to supply, demand, customers makes sense. And also, it raises other questions such as, now I understand pricing's a process. Have I got the right strategy? And what people do I need, to really drive this forward? Now I know it's a process rather than just a tactical, Excel spreadsheet game.
Like whenever I've looked at a consulting project or any sort of project in pricing, and you think, how successful is this project going to be? The biggest, deciding factor for me is generally how engaged is the CEO. If the CEO is super engaged, championing the project, backing the project, raising it every meeting, pushing it forward, it's a very, very high chance of being successful. If the CEO is not even involved, not in meetings, delegated to somebody below him or her, who may not even be a direct report to him or her, I'll be honest, the chance of success is low. The CEO needs to champion the culture. They are the person most responsible for the culture in a business. The old saying that a fish rots from the head down. If the top people are not engaged, pushing stuff, providing guidance, providing the culture, the objectives, etc., things will not go in the way that you want them to go in. And people at lower levels they'll work through the politics, they'll work through how that works in any organisation, the bureaucracy. People generally do what they're paid and incentivized to do. And if they're not paid and incentivized to work as a team, to work towards business profitability, to objectives of that nature, they won't do it. They will do what they are incentivized to do. And so without CEO backing, CEO championing, a bit of a harder word to say than I thought it would be, without those aspects, I think it will fail. So my big thing is, how engaged is the CEO? Are they aware that they own the profitability of the business? It fundamentally is their responsibility.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point. From my experience consulting on pricing and pricing teams, what I've learned is that, when there's a burning platform, CEOs become engaged, and the burning platform tends to be, either board pressure, or there's a change or shift in the market, competitive pressure, or their peers are doing something they're not doing, or they need to really make money. So money is a major driver. Pricing is the best way to get there, and expertise and internalizing that expertise will deliver that full economic value from pricing that you really want. I suppose if you want to learn a little bit more about that and just see where your business is in terms of being able to deliver the ROI from pricing that you really want, feel free to contact us. You can visit our website at taylorwells.com.au. Click on download or your free pricing audit, or contact us directly for an initial briefing session, and we can just talk through some of your initiatives and see whether there are places that we can help, a roadmap in place that would really benefit you, and things like that.
Yeah, I think just one final point I'll make, and this is from some of my previous experience working in businesses. Pricing is a tough job. It's a tough gig. You're constantly getting a bit of pressure from your customers. You're constantly getting pressure from internal, from operations. Sometimes you're seen as everyone's enemy. You're seen as trying to push up prices for the customer and trying to sometimes, decrease pricing or discuss that aspect with sales teams and marketing. And so it's a tough gig. And sometimes you can feel like you've got no friends in the business. You can sometimes come back from a meeting if you're a B2B pricing person. You can come back from a meeting, and you might have got a deal in, but you might get smashed when you go back to the office, and the other stakeholders in the company may not be very pleased. You need to have confidence that the CEO has your back, that the CEO has supporting you, and that you're aligned and you're on the same sheet. If that's not there, I think pricing can be very unsatisfactory, and sometimes some hiding to nothing, I think is one way of putting it. So yeah, I think we'd leave it there. And fundamentally, if you're doing a job, you need to be aligned with the most powerful person in that organization.
Yeah, pricing's not just a quick fix, a simple price optimization process, or as easy as getting some silver bullet pricing software solution. It's a process. It's based on a value culture. It's very heavily reliant on both people, strategy, and systems. And good CEOs that sponsor projects based on that premise do very well, because and they do it very well consistently and over time. But and CEOs basically that don't, they consider it as a tactical move, make some money over a short period of time, and tend to lose it very quickly too. So yeah, as I say, feel free to get in touch, get your free pricing audit, and we can help you. All right, thanks a lot.
Thanks again. See ya.